Welcome back to our studies in the Gospel of John. I'm Dick Baker, your teacher. We are in John chapter 4. In fact, today we will be finishing this with the healing of the nobleman's son. So let me just share with you some of the background material, the outline that we're using. And as we finish this chapter, we are completing the very first section of the coming of the Son of God. This is sort of the introduction of him, that as he works his way through the nation of Israel, he's now been in Judea, he's been in Samaria, and from there he has moved up back into the Galilee area again for his life of ministry. So he's covered, and the word of his fame is spreading. So when we get to chapter 5, we go up the next step and the next level of his life and the healing powers that he has and the words that he says. So this chapter divides into the woman at the well, and there's a little break in between the talks that he leaves there and talks about he works his way towards Galilee, and a couple of the slides that I'll use are going to overlap into the picture of the confrontation Jesus has with the nobleman. All right, so let's pick that up. Now, after 2 days, Jesus stayed in Galilee, stayed in Samaria and Sychar at the request of the city. And he spent time with them and shared with them, and we have no idea. We just know many believed in the town his words. And, of course, we had the woman at the well working and giving her testimony too. And so he said they wanted him to stay 2 days, and he stayed, and then now we read that he departs. So he was down in here. He's going up into Galilee. For Jesus himself testified that a prophet has no honor in his own country. So as he goes back up, he's in his own turf of where he grew up in the Galilean area, up in Nazareth. And what he's talking about is home country of where he grew up, or where he spent a lot of religious time in Jerusalem. It's talking about there, but in Samaria he would have honor. But he's leaving that area. Then, when he was coming to Galilee, the Galileans received him, having seen all the things that he did at Jerusalem at the feast, for they also went unto the feast. So seeing all the things, they saw the cleansing of the temple and other miracles that he did. All right, let's switch over to Jesus, and of course he has his disciples with him, and they listen into this conversation. So Jesus came again into Cana of Galilee, where he made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. A nobleman was not just a wealthy man or bore a title. He was actually a king's officer out of the palace of Herod Antipas and out of his court. This was a high-level gentleman here. And literally, nobleman would read a royal person. And so when it says, and there was a certain royal person whose son was sick at Capernaum, we're not given his name, nor are we given his son's name, but they were real people. And so Jesus is at Cana, where we see the red dot, and I have blue arrowed over to your far right where Capernaum is. That is the city that Jesus has tended to make his, I'll say, his northern capital, or his Galilean home base and home front. And he works out of there. He has disciples he's called out of there, and that's their hometown. So keep that in mind when Capernaum comes up a lot. And when he heard that Jesus was come out of Judea into Galilee, he went unto him and besought him that he would come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then said Jesus unto him, Except you see signs and wonders, you will not believe. Now, it's interesting that it is the plural you that is used here, talking about the household of Herod. And so when Jesus turned and spoke to him, he asked, "Come heal my son." Jesus says to him, "Except you, plural, you bunch of people from Herod's, you royalty out of his house and court, unless you, all of you, see signs and wonders, you will not believe." And so really all they wanted to do was see the miracles and see wonders. So he says that back to that man. It's not a rejection of just him, but it's a rejection of his life and his system and what he is used to, because he heard Jesus was coming, and all he did was hear that he did wonders. The nobleman said unto him, "Sir, come down ere my child die," or "Come down or my child will die." And his child was dying. Jesus said unto him, and this is just amazing, "Go your way, your son lives." And it does, that word lives means your son will live. He's going to get better. And the man believed the word that Jesus had spoken unto him, and he went his way. So when you have a personal confrontation, and that's what we're getting in these first 4 chapters, while there are other people around, Jesus deals with individuals. And so the Lord wasn't interested in Herod's household or court, but he was interested in this man who comes out of it. And he had a genuine need, and he came with a genuine heart. And he said, "I need you to come, please come. He's going to die." And the man believed the word that Jesus had spoken unto him, and he went his way. He didn't question it when Jesus said, "Go, your son lives." He just, "Amen, thank you." And as he was now going down, his servants met him and told him, saying, "Your son lives." So the servants had set out, and he's left, and they meet him along the road home. Then inquired he of them the hour when he began to get better or to amend. And they said unto him, "Yesterday at the 7th hour the fever left him." So the father knew that it was at the same hour in the which Jesus said unto him, "Your son lives," and himself believed. And now we add this, and his whole house. So when he got home, he shared exactly what happened and told him he does miracles, he does wonders, he has saved my son's life. But understand, that's not what it's all about. He is Messiah. Believe in him. Believe who he is and what he has come to do. This again, the second miracle that Jesus did when he was come out of Judea into Galilee. And it happened in the same place, Cana, twice. Water to wine, and now the healing of the nobleman's son. So what are our walkaways? There's some things in review, and then I close with something that's of much interest. And you probably figured it out, and of course you can read it ahead. The nobleman was all about sight. Jesus was about faith. And the nobleman came out of a rich, wealthy, powerful court ruling culture. And so he was self-sufficient in so many ways. But Jesus was about faith. The nobleman believes Jesus, and he walks away in faith. And so when the nobleman saw that it was not about miracles and what you see, but it's that you believe, then the nobleman believes, he understands the faith when he walks away with the faith in Messiah and Jesus Christ. The nobleman's demonstrated faith, and he demonstrated that when he got home, his whole household believes. You see, his servants came and met him, and so he started with them all the way home. I can't help but think that that conversation led to them to believe before they got back to Capernaum. And the last thing is this: Jesus was never bound by disease or distance. There's no disease Jesus could not heal. In fact, he brought dead people back to life. But oftentimes he would speak a word or the word and distance, however miles away, it does not matter. Distance did not mean anything to the Son of God, the Creator who created the distance in the first place. So I hope that's a blessing to you, and I want to thank you for being with us as we finish up this chapter. Of course, these are some of my references and folks that have helped me along the way. If I can be of any help to you, feel free to email me, and I will answer your questions. I will not keep your email. And may I invite you to check out my playlist on my YouTube channel here, and you will find a lot of other Bible studies, as well as Americana things, and Treasure Hunt is about archaeological discoveries in Israel mostly that are right out of the Bible. And there's some trivia quizzes too on the Bible. So we've got a lot of variety going, and I keep adding, and I want to thank you again. Father, bless this day, and I pray that you'd bless those that have listened in, and just use them. If any are watching that have not believed in Jesus, might today be the day of their salvation. In his name I pray, amen. God bless you, and I'll see you for chapter 5.